Was the Sultan's harem truly that beautiful, dreamy world we see in Turkish dramas? Or was it a spellbound prison where hundreds of women lived, trapped inside their own destinies? Beyond romantic stories and fictional palaces, what was real life actually like behind the sealed walls of the Ottoman harem? And if, just for a moment, we stepped into the palace of Hürrem Sultan, what would an entire day in her world look like? Welcome to Female Tales, a series exploring the lives of powerful women in history. I am Olya, and today we travel back to the 16th century, a time the world remembers as the era of power, magnificence, and imperial glory. Our journey begins in 1533, the very same year in which, as we discussed in our previous episode, Anne Boleyn rose to become Queen of England. Two women, living worlds apart, yet destiny crowned both of them as the legal wives of their kings in the same year. The exact date of Hürrem Sultan's marriage to Sulayman the Magnificent is not preserved in any official record, but most historians agree that the ceremony took place around 1533. A woman who once entered the empire as a captive was now free, married to the Sultan, and on her way to becoming one of the most influential women in Ottoman history. But before we imagine a day in her life, there is one important question. Who are you inside the harem? What is your rank? Because the harem portrayed in modern series is far from reality. It was less like a luxurious paradise and more like a highly regulated institution, a disciplined community with strict ranks, responsibilities, and daily routines, similar to a monastic order rather than a romantic palace. If you belong to the lowest rank, the odalik, your day is spent washing clothes, preparing meals, cleaning halls, and serving women of higher status. Most of these girls had arrived through wars, markets, or slave trade routes. From Georgia, Greece, Abkhazia, or from the lands of today's Ukraine and Eastern Europe, much like Hürrem herself. Pretty clothes and shimmering jewelry? Those privileges come much later. Legally, these young women were no different from the African slaves who worked on cotton plantations, except that harem servants received salaries, gifts, and could even save money for their future. An odalik earned around 6 silver coins a day, about $18 in modern value. But Hürrem Sultan? Her daily allowance would equal nearly $6,000 today. If you stood out through intelligence or beauty, you could be selected for training, your status would rise, and you would eventually enter the list of eligible royal companions, the egozets, the Sultan's potential favorites. If fortune truly favored you and the Sultan developed affection for you, or if you became pregnant, your status rose to inal, a recognized consort, but the real turning point arrived only if you bore a prince. From that moment, the entire political game changed, yet this game was both dazzling and merciless. The Ottoman law of succession declared only one prince could inherit the throne. The rest often met tragic fates, imprisonment, or death. But if your son survived and became sultan, you would rise to the position of Valide Sultan, the most powerful woman in the empire. However, Hürrem's fate was unlike any other. She became the Haseki Sultan, a title no woman before her had ever held. She was the first free woman in 250 years to legally marry an Ottoman sultan. Now, step into Hürrem's service and begin her day. Her mornings began at dawn with the Fajr prayer. You would prepare her clothing, jewelry, and accessories. Unlike the delicate gowns shown in dramas, real Ottoman attire was heavy, layered, and richly textured. A long silk underdress, wide trousers, a fitted jacket, and a flowing kaftan above it all. A tall, conical headpiece crowned her look, with a jeweled belt and sometimes a small ceremonial dagger. Interestingly, not a single authentic portrait of Hürrem exists. The harem was completely closed to the eyes of men. When women went outside, they were veiled, so the images we know of Hürrem are based on poetry, travelers' descriptions, and artists' imagination. Sulayman's poetry paints a glimpse of her, fair skin, reddish hair, and a gentle, ever-smiling face. He wrote, "O you with the beautiful hair, O you with the mischievous eyes, my heart burns forever in your memory." By midday, Hürrem would walk through the palace gardens with her children. At this point, she already had 2 sons. Prince Mehmed and Prince Mahmud. By giving birth to more than one son, she had broken the long-standing rule of the harem: one mother, one prince. Later came noon prayers, followed by meals served with strict etiquette: rosewater for washing hands, soups, vegetables, grains, and sweet dishes like baklava and sherbet. And during this era, coffee, the future symbol of Ottoman culture, entered the palace for the first time. But Hurrem's day was never just luxury or leisure. Politics followed her everywhere. She wrote letters, advised Suleiman, and sometimes even made decisions in his absence. Her correspondences reached Poland, Venice, Persia, and European courts. She even placed the imperial seal on state documents when the Sultan was away. Much of her time was also dedicated to charity: a soup kitchen in Jerusalem, a school and mosque in Istanbul, and the famous Haseki Hammam, which still carries her name. And yes, the political rivalry of the harem was very real. Her conflict with the mother of Prince Mustafa wasn't just a dramatic invention. Even foreign ambassadors recorded these tensions. Some historians believe Hurrem played a part, directly or indirectly, in the downfall of Ibrahim Pasha and the tragic end of Prince Mustafa. Evenings in the harem were calmer, filled with music, poetry, embroidery, or games like chess. Then came the hammam, where women bonded, whispered secrets, and performed rituals of beauty and friendship. Tonight, Hurrem has been chosen to spend time with the Sultan, and your duties end here. Traditionally, the Sultan met a different woman every night. But Suleiman broke this custom for her. People whispered that she had cast a spell on him. Yet today, we know the truth. Her power came from her intelligence, her personality, and her remarkable partnership with the Sultan. Hurrem Sultan marked the beginning of the Sultanate of Women, the political era ruled by mothers and queens. And history never forgets women who dare to rewrite the rules. So tell me, would you choose to enter the Sultan's harem, or prefer the freedom of your own voice, your choices, and your life today? Let me know in the comments which historical woman you want to journey with next. Until the next episode, goodbye.